Growing up in the 2010s, it's really hard to think that 2013 was already 10 years ago. When I think back on this past decade, many different things come to mind. Cartoons, music, school, and even this platform, YouTube. The majority of my memories from this era bring me great comfort, and I'm really happy I grew up in the time that I did. According to my age demographic, the majority of my viewers are aged 18 to 24, which means that most of you did end up growing up in the 2010s. So I thought we could take a little trip down memory lane together. So grab your goldfish crackers and your Capri Sun, and let's talk about some Gen Z nostalgia. The first thing I think we should bring up is toys. You know what I mean. Lego, Zuzu Pets, Pokemon cards, Polly Pockets, Hex Bugs, and whatever these things were. Almost everybody would bring their toys from home and play with them during recess on the play structures. Now, I don't know if anyone outside of Canada has experienced this, but my school used to have indoor recess when it was too cold and snowy outside. Bro, when indoor recess was going on, things were wild. I remember all the girls would pull out their Polly Pockets and Zuzu Pets, while all the boys would be pulling out their Lego Star Wars and Hex Bugs. Words cannot describe how much I loved... Okay, scratch that. How much I still love Lego Star Wars to this day. Oh, you think I'm joking. This is my Lego Star Wars shelf, and it's still growing to this day. I remember when I was a kid, I traded one of my tech decks for a Lego Snow Trooper, and I still have him to this day. But I don't think I can go on without going in depth about Pokemon cards, and you know what? Let's throw in silly bands for this matter. People were dealing both of these like it was I remember I had a huge binder of Pokemon cards, and some girl took them out of my desk and took them home. She's a dumb jerk and I hate her. Something equally as tragic is that I found out some of the cards I owned are worth hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. Silly bands, like I said, were the exact same thing, and it got so big to a point that my teacher had to write a note on our classroom door saying, "Silly band free class." This teacher also was anti-fun though. It could either be because she was pregnant at the time, or maybe she was just a bitch, I don't know. Next thing I think we gotta talk about is YouTube. Alright, now I was gonna put YouTube in the same category as TV, but I eventually decided against it because YouTube has enough substance that could easily be its own video. Let's start with the edgy humor, iDubbbz, Max Mofo, Leafy, H3, Keemstar, and the man, the myth himself, Filthy Frank. I remember watching Hair Cake when it first came out with my friends. I think the next installment of the Cake trilogy was more anticipated than the MCU. And this is before Marvel turned into the politically correct woke corporation that they are today. Then he just blueballed his entire community to pursue an even more successful music career. Another thing about YouTube is creepypastas. Bro, can we acknowledge how scary those were at the time? This is gonna sound really weird, but I miss when simple things would make me as scared as those did. Like, I could sleep in a back alley in the middle of Chicago and be unfazed because, you know what? I read Ben Drowned. Okay, maybe that's an exaggeration. Let me list some creepypastas that may give you a bit of nostalgia. Ben Drowned, Smiling Dog, Red Mist, Sonic EXE, Side Mouse. Bro, I could go on and on and on. I remember early in the morning, me and my brother would wake up every weekend at like 5 a.m. and watch creepypastas and Mr. Nightmare on YouTube in the dark living room, and we'd be sitting there in absolute terror. Man, I still watch Mr. Nightmare to this day, and I've been a huge fan of him for years. Next up, we got video games. Minecraft has changed so much over the years, without a doubt. Not only the community, but the game itself. Remember these textures? I remember Minecraft was crazy back then. Every update was changing the game in a new, insane way. Like, I remember when horses were added and everyone was going crazy about them. And although looking back, they're a little useless now, it was still crazy at the time. Same with these books. I think where Minecraft sort of dipped out of popularity was when the textures changed and netherite was added. I don't know, man. I will always be more excited finding diamonds than netherite. Same with Flash player games, though. Does anyone remember Papa Louie? Bro, the amount of businesses this guy owned. He must be a quadrillionaire, constantly opening up these new restaurants. Or this dude, Fancy Pants. Oh my god, I just know this guy was drowning in Wii Sports was also really popular at the time. And although it's sort of become a meme to this point, whenever you would see this dude, you might as well just turn off your controller and walk away, because this dude was going to whoop you into the next century. And what about Call of Duty? My mom could tell me that she hates me, but I'll just be indestructible because I've gone through this already.
Your bitch ass.
But for the past couple years, Call of Duty has just sort of felt dead. And I mean, the most recent Modern Warfare game is bringing back some of this toxicity, which honestly, I kind of missed it. It feels like old COD. Alright, next up we got cartoons. Bro, can we please take a moment to appreciate some of our fallen soldiers? Now, whenever people bring up classic cartoons from the 2010s, these are almost always on the list. I remember watching these almost every morning, whether it be before school or on the weekends, after my Mr. Nightmare binge, of course. These cartoons, even as a kid, I just had a feeling they would go down as memorable. These shows had such a unique yet simple premise. Amazing World of Gumball was my personal favorite because every episode was so out there. Regular Show was the same way, and SpongeBob was also really funny back then. The comedy seemed like there was actual thought put into it, and the characters were a lot more likable. Now I feel like it's way too exaggerated, and every facial expression is made in hopes that they become haha funny Twitter meme. I honestly could have mistaken Nickelodeon with Disney on how much they've beaten SpongeBob as a franchise. And it's not only SpongeBob, it's literally every new cartoon. Like, have you seen some of the garbage they're airing nowadays? Bro, I can almost guarantee no kid is ever going to look back in 10 years and say, oh my god, do you remember when we used to tune in to Baby Shark's Big Show?
Stop the cap. Stop the cap right now. Stop the cap.
The worst part is they're ruining some old classics like Rugrats. Look what they did to my boy. Going back to what I enjoyed, my second favorite show would have to be Star Wars: The Clone Wars. Because as a huge Star Wars fan myself, while some people hate the prequel era, I personally love it. When I found out there was an entire animated series dedicated to fleshing out the world more, bro, I was ecstatic. I'm actually on a rewatch of it right now, and it's probably playing in the background while I'm editing this video. Now, although our childhoods may not have been anywhere near perfect, I still think there were a lot of positives that we got to experience. Now, that's going to be pretty much the end of this video. If you want to see a part 2 or a full video dedicated to any of these topics, 100% let me know. I would have so much fun making that. Thank you all for 25,000 subscribers. I love you all so much. Thank you.